So here's Jane in one of the massage rooms with Jen. So here's Jane in one of the massage rooms with Jen. And what are you setting up for?
For you to do an interview.
In this room?
Mm-hmm.
With Jen?
With Jen.
Okay. So Maria, you're going to get a lymph draining massage?
Yeah. Yes, I am.
And have you had it before?
No, never.
Never. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So Jen, do you want to explain what you're doing?
Well, lymph drainage is.
I want to start.
Hi, and your name is?
I'm Jennifer Chen.
Wait.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Chen. I'm one of the licensed massage therapists here at La Casa, and I do a lot of the lymph drainage here. And lymph drainage is a type of body work where you move the lymph, you clear the lymph, and it's great for detoxification, great for anyone who had just had surgery, either it's cosmetic surgery or for any kind of medical condition, because after the surgery the tissue often will swell, there will be redness, a lot of time there will be hardening of the tissue and making the person difficult to move, or it's unattractive. So the technique is very gentle, as you can see. Most of it is very superficial, and we're clearing the lymph, kind of encouraging it to flow better. And after a series of sessions, I would say from 8 to 12 sessions, the persons can feel and see a difference, especially with the surgery patient. So, and it's also great for immunity, because the lymph carries all the antibodies and the toxins in your body that gets to be cleared out. So if you have chronic colds, immune system difficulties, sinus problems, it's also very great for that. Now, in addition to the lymph drainage, we always start with proper posture for the client. The knees are elevated to protect the back, so the person is in as relaxed a posture as possible. And then each person is draped carefully, so they aren't exposed to drafts. So now for Swedish massages, it's done without clothes, but some massages, like for example, we're doing the lymph drainage here, the person is fully clothed. But in either case, we do drape each person to protect them. I'm also going to talk a little bit about mama massage, which is what we call here for prenatal massage. And that's for a mother who are expecting. And for that, it's very important for the mother to be properly massaged, because it's a vulnerable time. And usually a lot of pregnant women have back pain or tightness, and you have to know, when and where to apply the pressure properly so you don't hurt the mother and the baby. And it's great for, relaxing the mother and also the child. So we're very proud to have that offer here. And also we have infant massage. That's also another very important type of massage for the baby. This is when the baby is born, and we teach the parent to massage their child, and this is very, very important for neurological growth. This will help the child to develop properly and to help with eye-hand coordination. Hi, so another massage I like to talk about is the mama massage, and this is what we call the massage for prenatal women. It's when the pregnant woman comes in and she's very, usually they have a lot of back pain, have a lot of tension from carrying the baby. So the massage needs to be done by someone who knows how and where to apply the pressure so it will not hurt the mother. And it's great for to maintain her health, to ease any tension for the mother, and also very relaxing for the child. Also, we offer infant massage, and this is after the baby is born. We teach the parent. We encourage both father and mother to come in. We teach both parents or whoever the caregiver is to massage the baby. And this is very, very important for the growth and to promote. Another type of massage we do here is called mama massage. This is prenatal massage for the pregnant woman, because a lot of time they will have back pain from carrying the baby, and also a lot of tension, just stress. So this has to be done by someone who knows how and when to massage the person properly, so not to promote the most relaxation for both the mother and the child. And also after the child is born, we offer infant massage. This is we encourage and teach both the father and the mother and whoever the caretaker is to massage the child. And this is extremely important for the proper growth for babies, because they have, it's shown that if you don't get enough touch, the child will not develop properly. And this is great for the brain, proper function of the brain, neurological functions, communication. So this is a class we teach, and it's great for both the parent and for a child, for the bonding process, as well as for health benefits.
I don't know what I did there. I don't know what to do with that phone.
Why is it running off?
Is
that enough jumping?
Yeah.
And just continuously jump until you say cut?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is called the oxidative exercise therapy, and what you're hooked up, that thing that makes you feel like you're in a hospital.
Yes.
You're hooked up to an oxygen concentrator. It's going to bring in oxygen right into your nasal cavities, and that's going to oxygenate your whole body. And while that's happening, you're going to be jumping. And as you're doing that, I'm going to explain to you and to our audience here exactly why this is the #1 exercise program in the universe. Gives you better health than anything you can do. So go to it, start jumping. When Earth was created, the atmosphere was 38% oxygen. It's 20% now. If you go to Japan, you see that they have little oxygen machines in the streets because the city of Tokyo is so oxygen depleted. In all of our urban environments, we're not getting enough oxygen. So to supplement our bodies with additional oxygen is very important, and this is an extremely effective way of doing it. Jumping is probably NASA, the people that make the spacecrafts, they say that jumping is the #1 exercise that you can do because it has so many benefits that are not like running, is hard on your knees, and weightlifting is good, but then sometimes you get a little too bulked up. The beauty of this is that it's basically an anti-gravity treatment because as you're jumping up, you're hitting the top of the jump is zero gravity, and then you're pulled down by gravity. And so as her body is going up, down, so is all of the lymphatic fluid, which is most of the liquid in her body. It too is going up, down, up, down. Lymphatic fluid is like the blood, it's liquid, but unlike the blood, it does not have a pump that helps it to circulate around the body. The pump that circulates blood is called the heart. So the only way to get lymphatic fluid to move, and it has to move because lymphatic fluid holds most of the toxins and carry the toxins out. The only way it can move is if you move it. So you can move it by jumping, you can move it by running, you can move it by a lymphatic drainage massage, which we also do at the spa, and we're going to show you in a minute. But anybody that has breast cancer, anybody that has cancer of the genital organs, all of that is lymphatic constipation, lymphatic blockage, because we have glands here, and the glands are kept clean and effectively functioning through the lymph system. So if our glands get swollen or we develop pathogens in our lymphatic glands, you know, when you have breast cancer, the doctors always want to look at your lymph system. They take out lymph nodes to see whether you're what they call clean or not. And often they're not, and that's because the lymphatic drainage is not operating at peak efficiency. This is the #1 treatment for cleansing lymphatic fluid. Thank you, Maria. Can you feel the oxygen through?
Yes, I can. Yeah, it's great.
Very good. So she'll do that for 10-15 minutes. If you do, this is easy to do at home. The trampoline costs under $100. The oxygen concentrator, you can usually find one on Craigslist or eBay for $300-400. That takes the ambient oxygen in the air and concentrates it to something like 97%, and she's breathing it in and oxygenating every cell in her body. We need oxygen. So that's this treatment. Thank you, Maria.
Thanks.
You can say, we call it a nasal cannula. It brings the oxygen right into her nostrils. Well, Maria, since you said your calves were hurting from all that jumping,
Yes.
I'm putting you on this. It's called whole body vibration. This is a vibration platform.
Mm-hmm.
We encourage people to do it as a kind of demo and then to go out and buy it. It's made by Soloflex. It's not very expensive. It's a few $100s. This is an amazing little machine because as we get older, we worry about osteoporosis and bone density. It's been shown, scientifically documented, that if you spend 10 minutes a day, a year later you have 30% more bone density. Bone is not like, if you go out and you run and you exercise your heart and your lungs, then vigorous exercise is very good. But for your bones, you really need to beat your bones up a lot. So like a baseball player, he's constantly throwing, using his arm, his bone, this arm, the bone in this arm will be incredibly more dense than the bone in this arm. So this, even though it's a gentle vibration, it's very powerful, and for women that are in and postmenopausal, this is fabulous for bone density, and for younger women like yourself. The more you build up a bank, like a reserve of bone density, then when you go into menopause later and you begin to lose bone density, you've got a bigger reserve, so more money in the bank means that when the economy goes belly up like it is right now, you still have more, so you don't have to worry so much. And people can do yoga postures on this. You can, sometimes I go down and I just actually lie on it on my belly and I exercise my belly. And then I flip over and I get my back. I get a nice little vibration massage on my back. And it's a fabulous little invention. A lot of exercise places now are using the $14,000 version of this machine. I called Jerry Wilson, who's the CEO of Soloflex, and I asked him what the difference was between his $400 machine and the $14,000 machine. And he said the difference is the $13,600. He said it's all in the motor. If you have the right motor, the machine works. How's that feel?
It feels good. Really relaxing, actually.
And when I'm on it, I feel it all the way up to my head.
You
I mean,
feel
I
it,
actually
okay.
feel my teeth vibrating.
Yes, I'm experiencing the same thing, so yeah.
Very good, thank you.
So there's a switch and then you hit start. I thought it was on the back.
Okay, now we're doing what's called a petty detox. This is the equipment here. We have our faithful friend, Maria.
Yes.
Maria actually has done a few of these, so we're anxious to see if today's going to look any different than the days in the past, because the first time you had this, it was pretty scary.
Yes. Very scary. Yes.
This is a very powerful, even though it looks kind of silly, it's already turning. We can see the water is turning. This is a very powerful detoxing device. It's approved as a medical device actually in Europe. The foot has the largest pores of anywhere in the body, and so the foot is a great place to do detoxification as well as nutrient absorption. And so what this little, we call this the array, what that array does is emit millions and billions of ions. And the ions are charged in such a way that they actually pull toxins out of the pores, these large pores in the feet. So it's going to be pretty amazing to see at the end of 20 minutes that that stuff in that water actually came from your feet. But I have to say, that's the way it's going to be. One of my colleagues has been working with this device with a little girl with cancer, and once you do this detox treatment, the detoxification continues for about 48 hours. So you don't need to do it every 24 hours, you just do it every 48 hours. And so this little girl with cancer, they've been giving her the Pedi Detox every 48 hours, and they've been doing it now for 3 months, and they can't find any sign of the cancer. So I've been using this machine for several years now, and I think it's a great treatment. Oh, I'll tell a little story about how I first got it. But after that, my colleague told me that about his cancer patient, who's apparently cancer-free now. I was very duly impressed. When I ordered this machine, I was very busy when it arrived, and this woman found out that I had it, and so she called me and said that she wanted the treatment. So I said, okay, well, it'll take me a little while to unpack it and get it going. She called me a few days later. She said, well, do you have it available yet? And I said, no, it's still in the box. I have to read it. So she called me 2 weeks later, and she said, okay, I'm ready. I want to come in. And she said, asked when she could make the appointment. I said, listen, I'm really sorry, but I have to tell you, at this point she'd called me like 5 times. I have to tell you, I have never been hounded like you've been hounding me for this treatment. Usually, people call and they say, I'd like to make an appointment, but you're so persistent. So tell me, what do you know about this treatment? She said that she had one in London, and she walked into the spa and she was hobbling. She was really limping. She had one treatment, and when she walked out of the spa, she needed to run to catch a bus, and she ran. So one treatment, she went from hobbling to running. So that after she told me that, I was highly motivated to unpack the equipment, and we've been using it ever since. And she still comes. She's one of our most faithful spa patrons for this particular treatment. And she also has some Bell's palsy, and I've been kind of monitoring whether or not this treatment would help her with that. So we're going to leave you, Maria, and we're going to come back. The machine has been on, I can't read it, but I think it's about 15 minutes more. So we're going to come back in 15 minutes, and we're going to evaluate your water and see what you're up to today. Okay?
Great.
Here we are in the float room.
Well, I don't know. Let's try. Okay, Maria. So this is amazing.
Yes.
This is such an improvement
It is.
from the last time. So do you want to say anything? Ask
Sure.
anything?
Yeah, I've done this. I think this is the 4th time, and I got to tell you, this is so much better. The first 3 times, a lot of black, almost rust-colored stuff in the water, and lots of little specks. There are a few in here now, but if you'll see, there are specks of black. If you pick those up, it's heavy metal. You can kind of smear it in your hand. It even smells of metal. It's really, really disturbing. But this is so much better. And, I was telling a friend about this, and, he really analogized it well. And, these are ions here in the array. It's a lot like your home air purifiers that use ions to attract dust out of the air, and then you simply take out the filter and wipe off the dust and dirt. So same principle here. And I'm just a real believer in the machine. I think it's a great treatment for anyone to try. And you feel nice too. Your legs feel a little tingly. That I experience that. I'm not sure that everyone does, but I've definitely noticed that. Yeah.
I'd like to say at this point that, Maria, you really scared me the first time we did this, because I had never seen water so black. And not only black, but see, I see now that they're on those big globs. You had the biggest globby blobs
Yes.
that I had ever seen.
Yeah, it was disturbing.
So we knew at that time, and that was what, maybe 4 months ago?
4 months ago.
We knew that she was pretty toxic from just, it was as well as a treatment. It was kind of a diagnostic, prognostic indicator of the level of toxicity. And
Right.
I think in the 4 months since you came for the first time, you've cleaned up your act quite a bit, yes, with your diet.
Been doing a lot of yoga, a lot of Bikram. I think
Yoga's really good for detox, and Bikram, of course, where you sweat like a pig,
right
is the best.
because I'm not a heavy sweater. I mean, there are a lot of workouts that I can do without even breaking a sweat. Not that my cardiovascular rate isn't up. It's just I don't sweat much. So you recommended that.
And that's really an important detox, a natural detox to sweat. We should all sweat every day. So yeah, I'm very happy to hear that you've increased your pace with your detoxes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hi. Hi, Maria, how are you? I'm good, how are you?
Good. Okay, so you wanted to start with the petty detox today, yes?
Yes.
Okay, let's go right over.
Okay.
So you remember where that is?
Yes, I
Over
do.
here, we'll do it. Okay, have a seat here. I'm going to get you a cup of tea, and then I'm going to be setting up the equipment, and we'll start the treatment.
Great. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jane Goldberg. I'm the owner of La Casa Day Spa, and we're sitting here in my spa. And I thought I would give a little introduction to both myself and the concept behind my spa before we start tracking different people having different therapies. I became involved in holistic health after my mother was diagnosed with a terminal cancer, which was probably about 35 years ago. And it was before holistic health was a household name, before it was even a glint in anybody's eye. I called all around the world. Basically, the doctors were not giving her very much hope. So I called all around the world. I spent months calling every country to see what they were doing with cancer. And I found out that was the beginning of an education about finding out about the nutritional and detoxification treatment of cancer. And I learned everything that there was to learn at the time. I told my mother about it. She completely changed her diet. She detoxified. She did a lot of colon cleansing. She did various fastings. She did amazing stuff, and she cured her cancer. She went from being in a wheelchair to playing tennis. And the cancer she had breast cancer that had metastasized to her hip bone. And when the doctors, after she'd been on this program for a couple of years and she was doing great, the doctors decided to give her an x-ray to check up on her. And the doctor said, "Oh, wow, I've never seen that before, where the cancer had eaten away your bone, now it's filled." So my mother was really my first inspiration, I guess, to what was possible with using holistic treatments. And then I bought a 10-acre farm in Puerto Rico, and we called it La Casa Resort Spa. And we used to have people come down for 5-day workshops, and we would slather them with, we're in the rainforest, we would slather them with rainforest mud, and then would be in the waterfalls, and we would sit on the rocks, let the mud dry cake on our bodies, just like the Taino Indians used to do it, and then we'd jump in the waterfall and we'd wash it off, and then would rush down to the ocean and absorb the salt. And we were feeding people vegetarian food and teaching composting, and so we had a great time when we were doing that, and then it was hit by a hurricane. So I decided, we had so many people that were coming from New York, and they kept asking, how can we do this back in New York? We want to continue the program that you've taught us. So I decided to open a day spa in Manhattan, and here we are. So we've been here for 15 years, and we are an unusual day spa in that we only do holistic treatments. We're not a fluff spa. We are a beauty spa in the sense that beauty, we feel, comes from within, and it comes from being cleansed and detoxified. So I consider that we're an anti-aging spa, we're a weight loss spa, and we're a disease-free spa, shall we say. But all of that comes about because of the treatments that we do that are nourishing as well as detoxifying. So we have a lot of things here that nobody else has. We have a salt sauna. We should take a trip to the salt sauna. We have 100 pounds of Himalayan salt and Celtic salt in big rock forms. And that's really wonderful to breathe in because there are a lot of treatments that we do where we work with ions, millions and millions of ions. When the salt heats up, it emits ions. And when you breathe that in, the ions go deep within your respiratory system. And ions are great because they have a charge that attracts toxins. And so you breathe the ions in, and then you breathe the toxins out. There are other treatments that we do. We're going to look at the petty detox. Those are ions that are discharged into the water, and thus through the ionization process, the waste is pulled out through the pores of the body. We do an ozone treatment, which we're going to look at, activated oxygen, O3. We're going to talk about that later and show why that's an amazing treatment. So we do colonics. We're going to talk about the most amazing new colonic that we have, that we called an intensive colonic, using pulsed magnetic energy. I think that's all I want to say for the introduction, and now let's proceed to looking at some of the therapies that we do. We're in the hall that leads to the treatment room, so this is our float room, and then we have here our colonic room. We have bathroom attached to the colonic room, another bathroom, and back there's the salt sauna on the left, and then we have 3 treatment rooms that we use for massages and facials. I have to think about what I want to say. I don't need to say it in the float room, although it would be good, I guess.
Just say this is the float room. Here, let me come.
Aim it to the shower and see if you get a reading of you in the shower.
Well, see, that's how it's going to be.
Well, that's all right.
Yeah.
Let me get on it. Can you see
Yeah,
me?
yeah, you wanted to talk.
So I'm sorry.
Okay, Paula's going to be doing a float. So right now, we like everybody to shower first because there's natural oil on the skin, and that gets the water that she's going to be floating in oily. So everybody has to shower. Thank you, Paula. Turn the shower off. And now I'm going to show you the float room. Paula has been to the float room before, so she kind of knows the routine. So Paula is stepping into a chamber. I call it the float chamber. And it's about 8 inches of water filled with 800 pounds of Epsom salt. The effect of the Epsom salt is that it keeps you buoyant, so it's like the Dead Sea. Paula, do you have here, let me give you the headrest. And So this water is heated to the exact temperature of Paula's skin. And this is like being in the Dead Sea because it's so salty that she can't do anything except float. So it's an anti-gravity treatment. Gravity is the leading cause of disease. As we get older, everything starts to fall, including our organs, and then they start squishing in on each other. And when that happens, they can't get enough oxygen, they can't breathe properly, and then they press on each other, and sometimes you get nerves that get inflamed and various things like that. So we want to, we can't change gravity, you know, we could go out of space, but short of that, what we can do is find ways of opposing gravity. So that's why the yogis always have people standing on their heads. And that's really a fabulous treatment for brain anemia. We use the slant board for that. We have a treatment that involves using the slant board so that you're reversing the flow of gravity. And so all of the fluids are being pulled to your head as opposed to standing up where everything is being pulled down. So this, in the buoyancy of this, it's anti-gravity. There's nothing that is pulling on her. And as such, she is going to, when I stop talking, she's going to enter the most profound state of relaxation that it's possible to be in. They say that the rejuvenative effect on the mind and the body from floating is equivalent to 5 hours of sleep. 1 hour floating is equivalent to 5 hours sleep. The Epsom salt is highly detoxifying. They say, and when I say they say, what I mean really is research. This is documented research, that 1 hour of floating because of the exposure of the 800 pounds of Epsom salt is equivalent to a 3-day fast. This is a very powerful treatment. Now the other thing that it does is, I started to say before, the water is heated to the exact temperature of her skin. So what that means is that there's no nerve transmission from her skin to her brain, and that's yet another reason why she's going to be so relaxed. We call it entering a state of supra-consciousness. Brain waves are balanced. It's a very strong anti-aging treatment. It's a very strong detoxification treatment. It's very good for addictions. And the main effect, other than when I do it, I make sure I do it once a week. And when my daughter was an infant and I was up at night, I mean, by 3 o'clock, I was really running ragged. And I would come in for an hour float, and then I'd be, wow, you know, whole new day. I really felt like I'd taken a long, long sleep. And that was just from an hour of being in here. Now that I sleep just fine, because Molly's 15, now the main effect that I feel from it is actually in my skin, because it improves the elasticity of your skin. I don't know why or how exactly it works, because you think about salt as being drying to the skin, and in fact when I get out, my skin, you know, is filled with salt before I shower it off, and it does feel dry. But I notice that when my skin starts to get kind of reptilian looking from the winter dryness of it, that when I float, my skin is restored to its natural state of moisture and elasticity. So I love it as an anti-aging treatment. So I'm going to do one more thing to augment the effect of Paula's float. She looks like she's pretty good there, pretty relaxed. I'm going to add these stones. Paula is very familiar with these stones because we've done a lot of research and work with them. The stones are energized stones, and I'm holding a stone also. I'm going to give Paula this stone in a minute when I explain. These are different kinds of stones in the bag than what I'm holding. The stones in the bag emit a certain energy that has been documented in over 3,000 studies to increase longevity and improve health. They're very miraculous stones, and Paul and I met the man who discovered the power of these stones, and he mines them in Wyoming and Utah. So he very nicely sent me these stones specifically for the float room. So not only is she going to get all of the benefits of the floating, but she's going to get the benefit of these very miraculous stones. And this stone, The only place that he mines this also in Wyoming. The only other place that you can find this stone is in Israel. This is the national stone of Israel. It's called the Elat stone, and it used to be mined in King Solomon's mines because there was copper in the mines. But then the price of copper went down, and they couldn't afford to continue to mine the mines. So and get these stones out. So as far as I know now, the only place that you can get this stone is from Jay, our friend, who's in Colorado, who mines them in Wyoming. Now, the beauty of this stone is not only does it have the specific energy of these gray stones that are in the plastic bag, and the energy, by the way, does go through plastic. This stone also is electric. It emits electrical energy. And we are electrical beings. We are beings of electricity. And when our electricity starts to diminish, then our energy diminishes because electricity is just a form of energy. And we become sick. So you can actually measure people's electrical fields, and it can be a kind of prognostic indicator for the state of their health and where they're going, even before symptoms have appeared. So I'm going to, and this stone specifically, it emits more energy as it's heated. And so since this water is heated, I'm going to hand it to Paula, and she's going to do whatever she wants with it. She might want to put it on her forehead, she might want to just hold it in her hand, she might want to put it on her abdomen, but put it in the water, Paula, so that it gets heated first.
Oh, okay.
You want it to be heated. And then I'm going to close the door, and then I'm going to turn the light off, and Paula's going to be in complete darkness. And what's beautiful about that is that when you cut out sensory stimulation, it becomes a very internal experience. I call it stillness moving, because you're still very conscious. Again, I call it supraconscious. You might fall asleep, which I do routinely. But if you want to use it as a kind of meditation, it's really the most amazing environment to create a meditative mind. So in having it in complete darkness, it eliminates one more sensory organ, which is sight. It's very quiet as soon as I stop jabbering. And in terms of the tactile sense, it's really quite amazing. We can interview Paula after she's had her float and see what she says. What I experience is that I lose the awareness of where my body begins and the water ends. I actually become one with the water. So it feels like a very kind of flowing experience. And by the way, this is really a fabulous experience for pregnant women, because they then are experiencing what their baby is experiencing, the baby inside their womb, which is a moist, salty, wet environment. Okay, so Paula, I'm going to leave you to your own devices.
Okay.
I'm going to close the door. You're getting lots of stone energy. Your brain hemispheres are going to be completely balanced, and you're going to come out feeling like $1 million.
Great.
Enjoy. So now we're in the colonic room at La Casa, and we're with Cher, one of our colon therapists. And so Cher is going to talk to us a little about what it means to have a colonic, why people have colonics, and what colonics do for you. So I'm going to give the floor to Cher.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to pretend you're a client and just talk to you as I would if you came here for a colonic today. So I understand you'd like to know a little bit about what colonic is. Colonic is an opportunity to clean out the colon using gentle flushes of water. The water is filtered, it comes through the tank, it comes down through the tubing and into the body through what's called a speculum. The speculum is a shorter tube inserted into the anus about 3 inches. It has 2 openings to accommodate the inflow tube and the outflow tube that's attached to the drain. I usually massage the feet, the lower back, and abdomen to help the body to relax, help the body to release more easily and effectively. We also have disposable products here, so that there's no need to worry about things not being sanitary or germs being passed on, because everything's thrown away.
And shared
And
water is
also
filtered.
the water is filtered, and I've also been certified for 15 years. So I've been doing this a long time, and I have had many, many questions that have been put to me by various people coming in with many different concerns about colon therapy. One of them is who is appropriate to get a colonic. And really, unless your health, there's a health condition that makes it contraindicated, actually colon therapy is appropriate for most people. The purpose of it can be manyfold. One of them is to help to prevent problems with your colon in the future and to make it a part of what I call a colon management system. And colon therapy would be one of those things. Diet and exercise would also be other components, as well as other things that I encourage my clients to learn about, and that has to do with different small habits that you can develop to help to improve your regularity. One is to give yourself time to release in the morning, which most people don't because they're always in a hurry. We jump into our clothes and run out the door, but you actually need to give yourself a good 10-15 minutes in the morning just to evacuate, and most of us don't get a chance to do that, and that's very important. Other things would be also elevating your feet when you go to the bathroom. The way that the conventional toilet is made to be a throne to defecate on. And it was made for the European royalty. And they would ask their inventors to please develop a system to go to the bathroom that they could defecate on, a throne to defecate on, basically. And so that's why the American or this style of toilet is popular in this area. But unfortunately what happens is when you sit normally on the toilet, it actually suppresses the lower areas of the colon, which are the 2 areas where colon cancer is most prevalent, because the impacted matter gets stuck in those areas because there isn't enough space for the body to void completely. So when you elevate your feet, which you can do by placing a small stool in front of the toilet and putting your feet on that when you go to the bathroom. And here we have one that we have here for our clients. So just pull this out. They put their feet on both sides of the stool as they sit. And then their bodies are shifted into a pivoted position so their body opens up and has a complete evacuation without straining. In fact, many people do strain to go to the bathroom, and the reason why is because we're using a conventional toilet, which makes it more difficult for the body to void. And to avoid that straining, as we all know is not very good for you, then you can use the stool. And you'll notice that there's a huge difference, and that your ability to go to the bathroom is greatly enhanced just through that very simple habit to get into every day.
And of course, I'm going to do a little demonstration here. Of course, the native people squat. And this is how they have their bowel movements because they're naturally in the right position. And I'm so old that it was 40 years ago, the first time I went to Europe. But all through Europe, they just had little drains, on the floor. And this was supposed to be how you did it.
One of the other concerns that people ask me about is eating, and how to prepare for a colonic, and also how to eat when the colonic is over, and basically how to eat in general. What kind of lifestyle should they adopt as far as the proper foods to eat. And what I do is I go over what the person normally eats on an everyday basis, and then I also look and see what's going on in the tube as the body is releasing toxins, impacted fecal matter. They may have parasites or bacteria, and they may have problems with their colon, such as either diarrhea, or they may be having problems with constipation, or they may be having problems with gas and bloating. We try to address these things through diet. And I also go over an exercise program for them and see what they can add to their already existing program, if they have one, that might enhance the effectiveness of their colon and the health of their colon, such as doing Pilates, yoga. There's a number of different positions that you can do that help to strengthen the abdominal walls and help to open up the colon. In addition to colon therapy here, we also have some...
Let me jump in and say that I'm going to do another one of my little demos. If it goes in this way, it's got to come out that way, that everything that goes in has to come out. And so if you're eating 3 meals a day and you're not having 3 bowel movements a day, you're constipated. The minimum that anyone should have is 2 a day. So we get calls a lot from people who say, well, I have a bowel movement every other day. Yeah, I'm in pretty good shape. This is not good shape. This is constipation. And constipation is a very serious problem for health reasons because when your colon, which is itself like a tube, when waste material that should be flowing through it and then coming out, when it stays in because it's not moving along quickly enough and it gets impacted on the colon wall, then bacteria forms because it's waste. And you have garbage out in the street and the garbage man doesn't come and flies come and flies are coming and it smells. Well, the smell of it is the bacteria. So it's garbage, and it's garbage out the body and it's garbage in the body. So when your colon gets toxic, there's a vein that goes from your colon to your liver. It's called the portal vein. And of course the liver is one of the main organs for detoxification. So if your colon is toxic, ultimately your liver becomes toxic. And if your liver is toxic, it can't do the detoxification for the body on a systemic level that it's meant to do. And then you're in trouble because you're systemically toxic and you're setting yourself up for various diseases. And in fact, there was a research study at Kaiser Permanente, the famous hospital in California, that, see, I have food on my mind, that's why I said restaurant. It showed that women who had breast cancer had fewer bowel movements than the other group, the control group that didn't have cancer. So constipation sets us up for cancer among all other diseases, actually. Okay, and so I'm going to give the floor back to Cher, who wants to begin talking a little about vibrational medicine and energetic healing, and I'm probably going to jump in again too.
It's quite all right. I call it the dog and pony show. I wanted to add a little bit to that. One of the analogies I use with people is if you have a baby and you're changing the baby's diaper, most people are alarmed to see just how many times they have to change the diaper and how full it gets when they change it. Now a baby is what, 1/10 our size, and most people say to me, I don't go to the bathroom anywhere near as much as my baby does. And that gives you an indication of how much is actually in there. Some people say to me, well, how's that possible? How can I have that much fecal matter inside me? And the truth is, it's sort of like when you bring your car to a dump yard, and they take the car and they squish this great big car into a very, very small little thing. And that's the type of thing that happens in the body. It gets kind of squished down to tiny little pieces, and those tiny little pieces end up going into the cells in the body. It's called auto-intoxication. So if you're a person who gets tired a lot, if you have gas and bloating that I mentioned before, if you're just not able to think clearly, those are some of the indications that something may be going on whereby there's too much auto-intoxication going on in your system. If your endurance level is low, you're experiencing problems with sleep, restlessness, not able to fall asleep or waking up all the time, or in general, just a general malaise. That's another indication that there may be some problems with your body not eliminating everything. And in addition to colon therapy, which is, we talked about the hydrotherapy aspect of it, but we also have products here too that we often refer people to. Some people need to have a little bit more support and cleaning out their colon. A colonic in itself is like going to one yoga session. Yes, is it helpful? Of course it is. But one yoga session or one colonic is not going to be the overall, magic wand in healing your colon. In fact, there is no real magic wand. The point is to develop a lifestyle that's supportive to good colon health. because with good colon health, then the rest of the body tends to be healthy as well. Norman Walker, who is a very famous colon therapist and homeopathic doctor, he came up with this chart here, which is a chart that I show to my clients quite often. He said that 80% of all health comes from a healthy colon, and 80% of disease or ill health comes from an unhealthy colon. So having a healthy colon is absolutely imperative towards for good health in the body.
I'm going to say something about these products. Norman Walker and Bernard Jensen were the two giants in the field of natural health when it was first introduced into this country. That was sufficiently long ago that they're now both dead, but Norman Walker, he was like 112.
It was like 116. Some reports say it was 116
when he died.
Yeah.
And he believed in a lot of fresh vegetable juice, and he believed in colon health. And Bernard Jensen cured himself of cancer when he was 80. He got cancer because he was in a car accident and they dropped the gurney. And he got a wound, and the wound developed into cancer. But at 80, he cured himself. So these are very long-living men who had a lot of wisdom about natural health. So Bernard Jensen invented a little device called the Kalima board. And after I became familiar with the importance of colon detoxification, colon cleansing, which, by the way, earlier I told the story of my mother being cured of cancer, curing herself of cancer. Part of what she did, that was her program, was daily, got on this Kalima board, and it's like a home colonic unit. So I did that every day of my life for 10 years. It takes about an hour out of your day, so it's a big bite out of your day. But I did it because I knew I needed to do colon cleansing, and I knew that I needed to do it on a regular basis. And so back to these products. These products were formulated by one of Bernard Jensen's proteges. And when I was opening the spa 15 years ago, he called me. This man, Lindsay, what's his name?
Lindsay, I can't remember his
Yeah.
last name now.
So he called me.
Duncan.
Yeah, Lindsay Duncan. And he sent me some samples of these products, and I took them. And 15 years later, I am still taking them. I take 2 pills a day before I go to sleep, and I have 3 bowel movements, regular bowel movements, the next day, every day, and I have not, ever since then, I have never gone back on the Kalima board. So I love these products because they give me an extra hour a day, and I just know that my body loves them because my body just operates so fantastically with its digestion since taking these products.
The one thing I want to add to that too is there's 2 concerns that people come in with when they get a colonic. One of them is they have a concern as to whether or not the colonic is going to be washing away good bacteria in their bowel. Well, one of these products addresses that issue, and that's the probiotic, and that's this one here. And basic probiotic is a series of various kinds of bacteria that is very important to have in your colon. We're supposed to have a balance of 85% good bacteria to 15% bad bacteria. Because of poor eating habits and lifestyle habits, we have a tendency to reverse that. We have 85% bad and 15% good. This helps to restore the proper intestinal flora in the intestines. The other thing I want to add to the products is, or explain about the products, is like colon therapy, the products help to strengthen the muscular activity of the colon. Because we tend to think of the removal of waste from the colon, but it's also important to understand that the colon is a series of muscles. And those muscles, like any other muscle in the body, if it's not being exercised properly on a regular basis, it atrophies. And the products helps to strengthen that muscular activity as well as colon therapy itself. The other thing too is that the products not only help the colon, but they also help the other parts of the digestive system, especially the liver and the small intestines. Colon therapy obviously can't go, there is what's called an ileocecal valve, which keeps the water from going past the large intestines and going into the small intestines. So what do you do for the small intestines and the liver? Well, it's important to keep both of those areas of the of the digestive system clean as well, and that's another issue that the products tend to address. For instance, if the liver isn't working properly, then it's not sending bile out properly, and when that happens, then the colon isn't getting the signal, so to speak, because you know that old song, how the knee bones connect to the, calf bone and all that. Well, That's what happens with the digestive system and the eliminatory system too. If one thing isn't working, then the other tends to suffer. And for most people, it's the colon that is the one that waves the flag saying, excuse me, but I need some help here. And so these products help to address that. And when you have a clean liver, which we do address here when we do colon therapy with people, and also the vibrational therapy helps to address that as well, then you also tend to have a healthy colon as well. One of the things I want to say, we're going to talk a little bit about vibrational therapy and how we help to address the issue of cleaning the body by using vibrational machine. And what we have here is like an electromagnetic pulse machine.
Wait, I'm going to talk a little bit about this machine, which is a pulse magnetic machine. And the way I came across this, well, actually, I knew about this machine about 35 years ago when my mother was struggling with her cancer, and we smuggled one of these. They weren't allowed in this country, and her doctor was up in Toronto, and he had one of these machines, and we smuggled it across the border, and then I shipped it to my mother in New Orleans. But it took me this long to find the machine again. And so first it helped to save my mother's life, but now it has helped to save my dog's life because little Lily was dying. She stopped eating, she stopped drinking, she was throwing up all the time. And one of my analytic patients told me about a woman that had this machine, and I brought Lily up there one night at midnight, and Lily had a treatment, and I put her on the floor, and she walked around. It was the first time that she'd walked around in a week. So it really, and then she proceeded to get better and better. So I'm in love with this machine. It's pulse magnetic energy, and what it does is address the cause of all disease on the foundational level, which is cellular stagnation. It imparts energy into the cell, and in doing that, the cell begins to function maximally and healthily in ways that it couldn't before. And I'm just going to read from my little brochure here because I want to make sure I get it exactly right. It enhances the cell's ability to dispel waste, pathogens, and toxins. So it's a detoxification treatment. It also increases the transportation of oxygen throughout the body. We've talked a lot today about different oxygen therapies that LaCasa gives. We obviously here feel that oxygen and the transportation of oxygen throughout the body is critically important for health. This machine helps to do that. And it improves the electrical energy responses between the cells. The cells communicate with each other, but they only communicate if they have an electrical charge that is correct. And this does that. It helps cellular communication in it because we are electrical beings. It puts electrical energy and magnetic energy into our bodies. And I'm going to have Sharon talk about it. We use this in conjunction with the colonics. We call it an intensive colonic, and we've gotten phenomenal results, which Sharon will talk a little about. I'll start off by saying that I'm also a very big proponent of the use of vibrational therapies because of my own personal experience. 32 years ago, I was diagnosed with cervical cancer. And the doctors were very adamant about me going to the hospital. They even made the appointment for me. They said, everything is arranged. You go in on Sunday, you'll have the operation on Monday, you'll get out of the hospital Tuesday or Wednesday. And they did, I was 24 years old. They explained I had cervical cancer and that there was a possibility they would have to do a hysterectomy. And at 24 years old, part of me was a little bit, you know how when you're really young you get a little arrogant, and I'm like, I don't think so, And so I was very determined not to do that because it just didn't make sense. At 24 years old, I have to lose my uterus. It doesn't make sense. So I went to a place called Clymer Health Clinic in Pennsylvania, and they did something called magnetherm therapy, which is also a form of vibrational medicine. And my doctor explained to me that we're all, like Jane said, vibrational beings and electrical beings. And we all have a vibration. Let's say that vibration beats like this. And what happens is when we have imbalance in the body, which can be caused by
poor lifestyle habits, stress, and so forth, that vibration gets, maybe sped up or slowed down too much, but basically it's thrown out of balance. And what the machine does, it helps to vibrate the cells back to their original integrity. So that's what we did. It was a completely, totally painless therapy, and I might add, extremely inexpensive. Now, we all know what hospital costs are, and even back 32 years ago, they were still very high, and I didn't have health insurance. And I didn't want to lose my uterus, as I said before. So I went there twice a week for about 2 or 3 months, and then once a week, and then about once every 2 weeks for another 3 months. So for 6 months, I did vibrational therapy. It cost $10 a treatment, and that was it. And I got excellent consultation from the doctor that I had there. And they took the machine, and it was like two pads, and they placed them on my body, and there was a very mild vibrational experience or sensation that I felt during the course of the session. In fact, part of me even wondered, well, it seems to me it should hurt or something. It was doing something that miraculous in my body, but it didn't hurt at all. And 6 months later, I was completely and totally clear of cancer, and the cervical cancer has not come back since then. So, and this was 32 years ago. So I'm a kind of a walking testimony to what the great things that vibrational medicine can do. I also want to throw a little thing in here. I want to talk about the machine, but I want to talk about another aspect of vibrational medicine that we do here at La Casa, and it's called essential oil therapy. It's referred to as raindrop therapy, which is the application of essential oils placed on the feet and also along the spine. It's a very particular, a specific type of massage that is extremely pampering, extremely soothing to experience, but it's made deliberately to open up the electrical avenues in the body so that the body will take in the oils and do something similar to what the machine does. Basically, when your cells are out of balance, there is something missing in that molecular structure, and the oils help to replace that missing component. The oils have been used, as we know, for many, many centuries in many ways, for medicinal reasons, for embalming bodies, for food preservation. Is that the right way to say that? Preservation, and also for cosmetic reasons as well. And
This essential oil in here has the highest frequency of any substance on earth. When we put our bodies in contact with this high frequency, our bodies absorb the frequency. And the absorbability of the essential oil is that if I put 1 drop of this oil on my finger, in 20 minutes it shows up in a hair analysis. It's a very powerful treatment. It's very subtle, but it's very profound.
exactly. And when you smell the oils, they immediately start to calm you down. They work immediately. And yes, they can be ingested, as well as you can inhale them, you can diffuse them in the room, you can place them on the skin. I have a testimony of a woman who shrunk a basketball-sized fibroid in a matter of 3 months by doing what we call implants of the essential oils. If I can get a little graphic here, she placed essential oils, frankincense and lavender, and she placed them over the stomach every day. And she also took a tampon and dipped them in the oils, and she placed them in the vagina and wore that every day. By the use of vibrational therapies, such as using essential oils, as I said, the gal that I know who shrunk a basketball-sized fibroid with the essential oils happened over a 3-month period. She also changed her diet and her lifestyle and used the oils to help the body to correct what had gone out of balance in her body.
Let me just say the importance of frequency is that human life exists within a narrow range of frequency. If you start dropping down your frequency, you get ill. I think at 50, I forget the measurement, so edit this out. If you smell coffee, it lowers your frequency. We know the frequency that any human being has. For instance, it has cancer. We know the range of what cancer exists at. So the point is to raise the frequency to the optimal, highest level possible for human life. And as I said, these oils do it, and the machine does it also, and Cher's now going to talk about the machine and how we use it in the colonic. And then I may talk a little about how we use it outside of the colonic.
Okay, this machine is PEMF is its initial. It's pulse electromagnetic frequency. And the way that we use it during the colonic is the person is laying on the table. And we do a few minutes of the colonic itself as a normal colonic. And then after a few minutes, I take the coil. And basically, when you turn the machine on, it has a vibration that you feel in it. And I adjust the intensity. Oh, I need to put the timer on. Forgot to do that. Okay. And the coil is placed on their stomach, and they could feel a very mild vibration.
I'll be your
yeah, why don't you hop up there?
your colon victim here. Of course, the person is not dressed. They have a gown on.
No, you have to be in formal attire to get a colonic. So we place the coil on their stomach here, and I ask her usually to hold the coil because, might as well use the vibration going through the hands as well as the abdomen. And then during that time, what we usually see in the tube is that the body's ability, what we call the peristaltic action or peristaltic wave, which is a wave of energy that goes through the colon. It's something like this. It's like an undulating movement. And it pushes all the fecal matter, gas, parasites, worms, and so forth out of the body through the tube. A colonic actually is, your body during a colonic is acting as though the tube was an extension of itself. The colon, it recognizes it as itself. So your body does the work during the colonic. The colonic is not doing anything to you. It's just providing the opportunity, and the water and the massage that I do helps the body to respond in a natural, normal way. And what this does is enhances that. So it helps to strengthen the peristaltic action, which is especially good for people who have a poor peristaltic movement or atonic muscles in their bowel. And also what happens is we tend to notice a lot of acid leaving the body. We tend to notice parasites, worms coming out of the body. We find that their peristaltic action is so strong that they have a much more complete release. And during the session, people have told me that they feel more at ease, especially when the session is over, almost like they got a massage, because the vibration is helping them on so many different levels. It's not just helping on the colonic level, but it's also helping all of the cells in their body, and to go back to the original vibration level that it's supposed to be at.
Sure, tell about the...
There was also a gentleman who received the colonic, and he had a magnificent release during the colonic. He was extremely, extremely elated afterwards. He said he had lots of energy, and this is a man who works 10 to 12-hour days. And so he was very thrilled, and he told me the next time he came in for a session that he had always had a tremor, like his hand would shake like that, and he had that tremor, and he had had it for years, and nothing had been able to stop this tremor. And he said 2 treatments on using the intensive colonic with the vibrational machine stopped the tremor. So we're getting a lot of very positive results, and we're very excited about the use of this new therapy in conjunction with home therapy.
And I'm going to briefly go through when we're not using this with a colonic, but I'm giving a treatment. I do what's called the metabolic series, and so we do the abdomen first, and we do the liver, and we do the crown, and we do the thymus and the thyroid, and we do the kidneys in the back, and back here. And I have had people tell me that the last 2 people that I gave treatments to, one of them, he's an IT person, a computer geek, and he hadn't been able to move his thumb in 3 months, and it was extremely painful. One treatment, the pain went away. He was pretty impressed. And then the person before that I gave it to, for 20 years, has had back problems. And he had one treatment, we gave it around his neck here. And although the pain is both in his neck and his lower back. And he said after the treatment, he said, "Oh my God, I have not felt this good in decades. I need this machine." Well, the machine is a $20,000 machine, so he didn't rush out and buy it the next day. But he is coming for regular appointments. The pain went away for about 3 weeks, and then he came and made a second appointment. And so incrementally, it's taking longer and longer for the pain to come back. So he expects to be completely pain-free in another couple of treatments. So I love this machine, and we are getting really phenomenal results both with the colonic and without the colonic.
So I told him I was like, I said, yeah, I said, but when you come over, I said, you can't watch cartoons, you can't do anything that you do. And that's why I know he was glad to go out that Sunday.
So here we are at the Ethical Cultural Society. There's going to be a talk, but nobody, it's a town meeting, but we have to pass our questions forward. So my question is, what if Hamas is an asset of an independent weapons cartel to drag the U.S. into war? In that case, then condemning the U.S. role in this war crime, wouldn't be the order of the day, would it? And then I'm also saying, can we think outside the box? What if Hamas is an asset of Israel? But I felt this is a deeper one.